Toastmaster, honored guests, members, I want to take you to a very special place, a magical place, so that we have a chance to get off the world. If you've ever felt stopping, I want to get off the world, I invite you to come with me to an actual place, and I hope you develop a penchant for it. It's exceptionally beautiful. I want you to travel with me, and you'll need to use your imagination or your visualizing skills for this. I want you to travel with me to the South Pacific, way south. I want you to go slightly northeast from Australia, where you'll encounter an archipelago of about 300 islands. Only 10 of them are inhabited. Some of them are very small, 2 of them are larger. I want you to envision yourself standing on some white sand, facing a large horseshoe-shaped bay with azure water that gets deeper as it goes out, deeper blue. There are coconut trees behind you and your spouse and your 2 children are the only 4 people there. It is truly a magical place. My husband was a Fulbright Fellow with the University of the South Pacific for 2 years, and we lived in the Fiji Islands for that time. We lived in Suva, which is the capital of Fiji, on the southern island. It was quite wonderful. I have many, many special memories of that time. Suva is a shipping port. Fiji exports a huge amount of items. Fiji exports coconut and all its products, sugarcane and its products, minerals, timber products, fish, rice. Quite surprising for a comparatively small country. The wharf is amazing. It's salt water, it's fresh water. There's a very large coral island or surrounding place for Fiji. And over the years, fresh water from the mountains, which rise to about 4,300 feet from sea level, have dumped the fresh water into the bay right there. And over eons, the coral has been killed. And so there's a natural path from the deep ocean into the port. Even the Queen Mary was brought in there at one time. If you were to walk out to the end of the coral, you would be looking down about 500 feet to the ocean's floor. And that coral reef protects the islands from big storms. We loved to walk down on the wharf. It was not blocked. We could get into, into the wharf. Walk the full length of it, the full width, going right out to the very edge of the water and seeing in our mind's eye the big ships that would come in. The scents stayed in my head for a long time. It was sweet with a slightly tangy, slightly sour, but not unpleasant scent to it, with all the items that were shipped down, the coconut, the sugar cane, the fish, the rice, and so forth. And there were fences around the cargo that was waiting to be boarded onto the ship, but we had nothing that would get in our way. Now, if a ship came in, of course, we really did need to get out of the way. The Fijian people are a beautiful people, physically beautiful. They are vigorous. To greet you, they would say, "Bula the knockout!" And you would say, "Okay." And then they would say, "Sal Vakatha, how are you?" They are smooth-muscled. They all look like Muhammad Ali. They're Melanesians, so they have kinky hair, darker skin as compared with the Polynesians. They are physical. They are vigorous. They have a penchant for rugby. When we lived there, they were still playing rugby in their bare feet. And the government said, "You must wear shoes for this game." And they, I kid you not, almost had a riot on their hands. We've played rugby in our bare feet for all these years. They would also do a war dance before the game. We've seen these great big guys. To give you a more accurate idea, the men were probably, on an average, probably around 6 feet tall and big, 250. And the women were proportionately smaller, but large also. I felt like an absolute little thing around them. It doesn't look up like that, but they're wonderful. They're just wonderful. They now just offer a war cry before they go into their rugby games, and a very vigorous poem, I understand. We visited several villages while we were there, staying overnight at some of them. Our place of honor would be part of the bourrée, which is the home made of grass and reeds, a wire extending across about 1/3 of the width of it, and then tapa cloth draped over that to create privacy. The bed was boards raised on kind of a little platform. There were no mattresses or blankets. We slept on boards. And when in Fiji, you do what the Fijians do. Beautiful, beautiful people. They were at one time very given to war with fellow tribespeople, and they were also cannibals. They would take the still living vanquished, roast them alive, and then eat them. The museum in Fiji has a whole display of eating utensils, I guess I'd say, down to little forks used for extracting meat from the joints. Then the missionaries came, and they embraced Christianity as vigorously as they fought each other. One of my most favorite memories was up a river, probably about an hour, under a canopy of bamboo that just framed the whole river, a small river, and a little putt-putt to a village. And when we got there, we did the greetings. And I noticed my boy standing with a little guy, all about the same age, just kind of looking at him and so forth. And I realized he didn't have any arms. He was naked as a little jaybird for obvious reasons. They looked at each other for a while and then they all took off. What I realized, as I saw a woman from the village kind of following them, was that she was keeping an eye out for him, and that this child would be raised by the village and cared for them for his entire life. He didn't have to worry about anything. Our 2 years came to an end very quickly, and we had to say goodbye in the middle of summer in the southern hemisphere, which means in December. It was beautiful looking out on the bay. It was sad to have to leave. We said goodbye to our Fijian friends and the Europeans. If you were white, you were European, because that's where the first white people came from. I haven't been back to Fiji since then, but I have returned. I returned to Fiji when my body needs respite, when my mind needs calmness, and when my spirit needs replenishing. It truly is a magical place. Lisa Mule, Fiji. Goodbye, Fiji. Vinaka Vakalevu. Thank you very much, Fiji. So, Tata Le. I will return again.